Something we all look for before the love story starts is the struggle behind it. That's why I'm going to start the list with Marriage Contract, a classic that proves love doesn't always come with flowers and dates. We have a single mother who is completely exhausted by life. She is working multiple jobs just to pay off all the debt crushing her shoulders. And to make things even worse, she's diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. The male lead has his own kind of issues as well, and eventually these two broken souls enter a marriage contract. But the truly heartbreaking part comes when you realize that Jesus agrees to become his mother's donor in exchange for enough money to make sure her young daughter will be taken care of after she's gone. That realization hits like a truck. And yeah, this is absolutely one of those crying dramas. You watch it to feel the weight of survival. The leads are physically and emotionally drained, fighting through pain and poverty while love is the last thing on their minds. Okay, but what if I told you that the happy ending will also leave you in tears? What if I told you that the drama doesn't provide imaginary solutions, but instead makes you feel the happiness of what is already there in the moment? I can talk about this drama all day, and it still won't be enough. So let's just move on to the next one. And with this one, we reach the exhaustion of the soul. Call It Love is a forbidden love drama about a woman whose life feels like one long gray day. Her father had an affair and left her family years ago, and after he dies, his mistress kicks her and her siblings out of their family home. Drained and fueled only by quiet, tired rage, she decides to get revenge. How, you may ask? Well, she targets the mistress's son, Han Dong-jin. She gets a job at his company, planning to ruin his life. But when she finally meets him, she finds a man who looks even more exhausted than she is. She finds herself wanting to protect him because he's the only person who looks as lonely as she feels. Their love doesn't instantly fix their lives, and that's the beauty of this drama. It simply gives them a reason to finally sit down and breathe. The same goes for the romance itself, the low energy, the silence in the air, the warm color palette, and the cinematography all hit perfectly. And then you realize that Wooju has basically been sleeping with her stepbrother for the past 14 episodes, and suddenly everything flips on its head again. Verbal abuse at work, skipping meals just to save a couple of bucks a day and saying yes to everything. That's how Scent of a Woman starts. Yeonjae's life couldn't get any worse after she gets accused of theft and, in the same week, finds out she has gallbladder cancer, with only 6 months left to live. Personally, I would just give up on life at that point, but what she did is throw her resignation letter in her boss's face, take her savings, and fly first class to Japan. There she meets Ji-wook, a rich man who has everything but feels nothing. Their romance begins when he sees the way Yeonjae lives every day like it's her last, building a connection based on the idea that love is the only thing worth doing when you're running out of time. The drama ends with a beautiful narration. She hasn't been cured. The cancer is still there, but she's still living, still dating Ji-wook, and still crossing things off her bucket list, leaving you with the message that it doesn't matter how long you live, but how well you live today. I consider this one the gold standard for how to handle exhaustion. It's Okay, That's Love was one of the first dramas to tackle mental health with complete honesty, showing that you can be successful, beautiful, and cool, yet still be completely falling apart inside. We have a rich, handsome, and incredibly charming man dealing with severe childhood trauma involving his abusive stepfather. And then there's a woman who has a phobia of physical intimacy because of a traumatic memory involving her mother. They become roommates and slowly realize they are both deeply wounded, kicking off the start of a beautiful love story. Unlike other dramas where characters are physically tired from labor, these two are tired from pretending to be okay. And yes, this drama does have a happy ending. After intense therapy, treatment, and a period of separation to focus on their own healing, the final scene shows them married. Jesus is pregnant, and while they still have bad days, they've learned that it's okay not to be perfect. I wanted to include some older dramas you probably haven't heard of before, and Thank You may just be the one you need. After his girlfriend dies in his arms, Min Gi-seo loses his will to live and his passion for medicine, becoming cold, angry, and hateful toward the world around him. He travels to a remote island to fulfill his late girlfriend's dying wish, to apologize to a young girl named Lee Bom, who was accidentally infected with HIV during a blood transfusion at Gi-seo's hospital. There, he meets Bom's mother, a single mother raising a sick child and a grandfather with Alzheimer's, all while keeping Bomb's illness a secret from a judgmental small town. And that last part is very important, because the moment the town finds out about Bomb's HIV, they turn on her pretty hard, and it will absolutely put tears in your eyes. You may also want to wipe those tears away when you see how deeply the male lead stands by her side and loves her without hesitation.
I never knew it would burn me out.
The ultimate burnout anthem for anyone who has ever wanted to delete their social media, quit their job and disappear to a small town where nobody knows their name. Summer Strike is about Lee Yarem, a 28-year-old woman who is completely soul-crushed. She's treated like a doormat at her soul office, her boyfriend just dumped her, and her mother recently passed away. So she goes on a life strike. She packs one backpack, quits her job, and moves to a tiny seaside village. Her goal? To do absolutely nothing. She rents a dusty, abandoned billiard hall for almost no money and plans to live on her tiny savings. There, she meets Daebom, a shy genius librarian who almost never speaks. He is exhausted by his own brain, a former math prodigy who suffered a massive trauma and now finds peace in the quiet repetition of stamping library books. This is one of the slowest, slow-burn romances ever, and you'll absolutely love each and every episode. Should We Kiss First gives us a flight attendant who lost her young daughter in a horrific accident, leading to a bitter divorce and a life buried in debt. She meets a successful advertising executive, a prickly and solitary man who has been diagnosed with a terminal illness and has decided to spend his remaining days in total isolation with his dog. Everything begins with a blind date, and the moment they meet, they simply decide to be together, skipping the whole romance and blushing phase. They waste no time and slowly realize that being alone in your pain is much worse than sharing it with someone who is carrying pain of their own. When you realize that the writer of this drama is the same one who wrote Goblin and The Glory, you immediately know this is going to be a masterpiece. City Hall is a classic drama, and the premise is basically about being a nobody in a world of powerful somebodies, and how love can find its way between the cracks. We have a low-ranking civil servant whose whole life revolves around making coffee for her bosses and running errands. She is 36, and society already treats her like a granny. She meets a brilliant, ambitious man who only cares about becoming president, and he views Mireille as a useful idiot he can manipulate to win an election. But things go wrong when she actually wins and starts fighting for the townspeople instead of the corrupt politicians. There is a lot of political burnout in this show, but it does provide a happy ending that will leave you very satisfied.
너 이게 뭐 하는 짓이야?
If you want to see the realistic side of romance and the heavy, exhausting aftermath of a breakup, Alone in Love is the one for you. This drama is about a divorced couple who, despite being separated for 2 years, still meet at the same donut shop. They still argue over the same small things, and they even try to set each other up on dates with other people just to prove they are over it. Well, guess what? They are not over it. You see, the divorce happened because they went through a lot of tragedy together after losing their newborn baby. But now, things have gotten a little better. He works at a bookstore, she works at a fitness center, and both of them secretly make sure the other is doing okay. One thing I really love about this drama is how, even when they enter new relationships, they constantly compare their new partners to their ex. It shows just how much they still think about each other all the time. It's an old drama, yes, but it still definitely hits the right spots. Speaking of old dramas, we have Dalja's Spring, a 2007 classic that speaks to every woman who has ever felt behind in life while working herself to the bone. Dalja is a 33-year-old managing director at a home shopping network. She is exhausted by expectations. In a society that tells women they should be married with kids by 30, she is seen as a high-achieving old miss who is constantly disrespected by her younger coworkers and nagged by her family. Feeling tired and desperate, she signs a contract dating agreement with a younger, mysterious man named Tai Bong, just wanting someone to show off at a wedding. But instead, she finds someone who actually sees the lonely eyes behind the successful career mask. If you can't already tell, this is an age gap drama. He is 23 and is way more mature and emotionally intelligent than you would expect. The fact that this man instantly realizes that she doesn't need her life to be fixed. She just needs the confidence to stop caring about what her neighbors think. Now that's what real romance is. On the Way to the Airport is famous for being incredibly moody and atmospheric. It's for everyone who has ever felt like their marriage, job, and family are just a series of obligations they're constantly failing to meet. Sua is a veteran flight attendant, a mother, and a wife. Her husband is a cold, controlling pilot who treats her more like a subordinate than a partner, and she's constantly torn between her demanding job and her young daughter. She meets a part-time architecture instructor with a bright, warm personality. His wife is hiding a dark past regarding their daughter, and his family life is filled with tension. The affair in this drama is pretty unique because they slowly become each other's escape, and the show makes sure you feel that. In the quiet places, airports, old traditional houses, or beside the river, where they can finally just breathe in silence. The drama genuinely makes you wonder if it's really wrong to find the one person who finally makes you feel alive. I talked about this drama in the previous video, and here I am again. We Are All Trying here is about an aspiring film director who spends his days watching his friends win awards, while he struggles with mounting debt and a soul that feels like it's being eaten away by self-doubt. On the other side, we have a producer carrying the heavy burden of hidden wounds. She literally gets nosebleeds when her body can't handle the stress anymore. The actors don't even have to speak for you to understand what they're going through. Their bodies tell the story that their mouths can't. You have to watch this. No questions asked. Only 3 picks remain, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button on the video. Okay, this one is a little lighter, just to balance out all the chaos we've been through. Boyfriend on Demand follows a high-level marketing strategist who has no time for small talk, no energy for arguments, and definitely no space for someone else's emotional baggage. To fill the void without the effort, she uses a premium app to hire a professional boyfriend, a former theater actor who now spends his nights becoming whoever women need him to be. When the timer ends, the feelings are supposed to end too. But when her life begins to crumble under the weight of corporate burnout, she realizes that the only real moments she has are the ones she's paying for. And yes, this drama really hits the spot. It captures the exhaustion of living in a world where we outsource our loneliness because we're too tired to build real intimacy. Honestly, I want you to watch this drama just to witness the moment his customer service eyes switch into his real ones. It's one of the most heartbreaking transitions ever. Melo Movie gives us a movie assistant who started from the bottom and somehow stayed there. She loves film, but her relationship with her father, who valued movies more than her, is pretty complicated. She connects with a man who dreamed of becoming a movie star, but his face was considered too common, so he became a critic who spends his days watching other people live out their dreams instead. A man who has mastered the art of looking fine, while being fundamentally lonely. They find each other while they are both at their lowest, slowly realizing that maybe 2 unlucky people can make 1 lucky couple. Just like the title suggests, the show is a true mellow. It leans heavily into the sadness of life, but balances it with quirky, dry humor that somehow makes the exhaustion feel lighter. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how Woo-shik is basically the king of playing exhausted but charming. This man always looks like he desperately needs a 48-hour nap and a hug. We've reached the finale, and it's a heavy one. Just Between Lovers, also known as Rain or Shine, is the drama for anyone who feels like they have too much on their shoulders every single day. Gangdu is a man whose life stopped the day a major shopping mall collapsed on top of him. He survived, but at what cost? A permanent leg injury and a dependency on painkillers, with no dreams left in his mind, only the goal of getting through each day. Moonsu also survived the same collapse. She lost her younger sister in the accident and now spends her life designing architectural models, specifically creating buildings safe enough so no one else has to die. She lives with an alcoholic mother and hides her own PTSD behind a mask of being the perfect, dependable daughter. Their romance is famous for being raw. They sit on rooftops, walk through dusty construction sites, and share their nightmares the way most couples share their hobbies. And the beauty in all of this is the happy, healing ending you get to experience alongside them. Since we've reached the end of the video, I definitely recommend checking out these dramas with sad endings. You can click the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you there. Thank you for watching.